Welcome to Access a Trader, the #1 community for those who are committed to taking control of their trading in order to achieve success, profitability, and longevity. Thank you for joining us. Here's Dan Shapiro to help you find your edge, master your process, and own your future.
Hey guys, good morning everybody. Happy Sunday. Hope everybody is doing well. Welcome to another edition of the AccessATrader.com weekend update show. It is about 7:30 in the morning on a Sunday. For all you guys in your 20s, you probably say, why is this guy up? When you get older, start waking up a lot earlier. Get more hours of the day, enjoy more life. So hopefully everybody's doing well. Guys, support the channel. Takes a second. Click a like, share, subscribe if you haven't done so already. And hopefully I will continue to provide you on a daily basis. And speaking of daily basis, you guys noticed for the last couple of weeks, I've been just kind of randomly doing these videos, just enjoying the last lap of the summer. Regular video updates will start up again once the kids start school after Labor Day for the next couple of weeks. So again, enjoy your life, enjoy the summer. You only have one life to live. Again, sitting behind the screen is not exactly my cup of tea. So hopefully everybody is doing well. So let's talk about some of the big hits of the week. Let's talk about some of the big misses of the week and where I think the market could potentially go next. So let's start with definitely the biggest miss of the week for me. And if you guys remember, Apple had an incredibly just terrible reaction to earnings, right? And they were just building 3 days below the 50-day moving average. And on the fourth day, if you guys remember, a headline came out that the White House was getting pretty much $100 billion investment from Apple. Turns out 2 days later, Apple was going to be exempt from any tariffs or potential tariffs for whatever this interval of news was. So it was obviously a beneficial headline for them. And like many traders, and I think a lot of my guys, a lot of my friends who have been trading for everybody's been trading for at least 20, 25 years. Everybody looked at the headline and they're like, yeah, whatever. It's a trap. It's a liquidity trap for retail. There's no reason, let's just wait for the fade, right? Let's just wait for the fade. Retail, which will chase this headline, and ultimately the stock will go red and ultimately lose the earnings low and ultimately will give us a pretty good next wave down. It didn't happen, right? It didn't happen. Apple had a massive rally into the close, and then it closed like $3 off the highs. So I said to myself, oh, okay, it's not a big deal. It still hasn't even got above this June-July channel. If it does for tomorrow, maybe I'll watch it. But again, I don't, deep in my gut, I didn't really believe this was like a multi-day thing. And the next day, well, not even the next day, the after hours, Apple was up another 5. And you're saying to yourself, what? Seriously? Up another 5. So obviously still don't have a position on this thing. By day 3, you're like, well, it's day 3. I'm definitely not chasing a 3-day move off of a bottom. It's only a 30% move. I'm not going to chase it. And guess what? It continued to go higher with massive weekly 230 calls and 235 calls. So massive miss for me. A lot of my friends missed this trade as well. It was just one of those things. Again, you trade long enough, you say to yourself, well, what am I willing to take? What am I willing to miss? And that headline just didn't strike a chord with me. Again, maybe I'm naive. It just didn't strike a chord with me. I just didn't really think it through what potentially could be the ramification on the other side of that headline. Obviously, was an exemption to tariffs, and Apple was one of those names. So a massive miss for Apple for me this week. 2 stocks I did not miss on. Google, if you've been watching this broadcast for the last 3 weeks, all we've been talking about, Google earnings highs, Google's earnings highs, Google earnings highs. Finally, the earth is swallowing up all the demons. Food is tasting better. The air is crisper, right? You're taller. Your penis just got bigger. Finally, by the graces of the market gods, Google finally broke out. Got long this thing on Friday. I'm finally above the 198 level, pretty much closed within 60, 70 cents of the highs. I am holding a runner. Some pretty big call buying came in on Google for the next couple of weeks. I would love to see, it's It's not the greatest follow-through stock in the world, but I would love to see this thing finally go on a multi-week run. I would really love to. I'd love to get something north of 205, from 205 to 210 on this thing. I know it probably won't, just because the way Google trades. Again, and when I say that, it has nothing to do with Google as the company. It's just the way it trades. You can see here its history. It has a couple of days move, and then it moves down. It has a couple of day moves, and then it moves down. So it has a couple of days moves, and then it moves down. I'm just hoping this time is different. I'm willing to hold this runner from the 198 earnings reclaim. I would love to see the at least a 205 move for this thing this week. If not, I'm willing to eat break even on the bounce. But again, it's just something that eventually it has to go. Speaking of stocks eventually had to go, and we finally caught the damn thing, was Tesla, right? Tesla has been, and we'll get to individual pivots in a second, Tesla has been such a pain in the ass of reclaiming the 50-day and then giving it up. Reclaiming the 50-day and then giving it up. And you're like, damn, when is this thing finally going to, follow through? And here's a perfect example. It reclaimed, if you guys remember the run-up, right? We had a trade, the run-up ahead of earnings. So it reclaimed the 50-day moving average, went from like 324 to 338. And you're like, this is great. And then it lost it on earnings and then tried to reclaim it back, brushing off the earnings, and then lost it again. And then Thursday, right? Thursday, it had an incredible close, an absolute incredible close. And it reclaimed the 50-day moving average on the close. And all of us were long. I mean, literally all of us were long. And it reclaimed the 50-day on the close. There's no more bullish close than a 50-day moving average close on a stock. And then after hours, some news comes out and you're like, I think one of the engineers or designer, whatever the hell it was, they left the company to start to start another venture, and Tesla went down like 2.5 after the close. I'm like, are you effing kidding me? Are you effing seriously kidding me? So I'm sitting there, I'm like, come on, bro, this is just wrong. How many times can this damn thing get above the 50-day and fail? And, then I went to sleep, woke up the next morning, and it was down like 60, 70 cents. It was about like 320 and a half, 321. And I'm like, come on, man, just go. And then next thing you know, at the open, for all you guys who were long Tesla overnight, at the open, this thing just went absolutely bananas. Absolutely bananas. This is now the highest close in the whole formation. And now you have a big level coming up on Tesla, which is the July highs. If it could get above the July highs, then you can start talking about potential 350s on deck for the stock. Some really, really aggressive call buying came into Tesla. The craziest bets I saw was for next June, for a year out. They were coming for the 707 time calls for a year out. So that's a little bit ambitious, but they were also coming for the September $400 calls, which is obviously a lot more realistic, a little ambitious, but a lot more realistic. So let's see, right? Let's see if this week Tesla potentially could get back above the July highs and start pushing to those 350 level. Again, is it possible? Has a res day, an inside day on Monday? Yeah, everything's possible, but as long as it stays, as long as it continues, it's very, very important. As long as it continues to stay and build above the 50-day moving average, the higher probability it will test the July high. So it's super duper important it continues to build above the 50-day moving average. So that was that. That was kind of the two big misses, one big miss, two big hits for the week, at least for myself. The one group that is getting absolutely slaughtered, that they just don't know there's a bull market, just doesn't know that the NASDAQ is closing at highs, are these cyber stocks, right, guys? The ZSs of the world absolutely smashed. Snow. Look what's been going on with Snow. I mean, this is massive, right? Absolutely massive. Pan W. So if you're an investor of these things and you're wondering what the hell is going on, the market's at all-time highs, well, sometimes a group is out of favor. Again, there's always nonstop fluidity of headlines between cybersecurity and what's been going on in the world. But this is definitely a group that is its own, I don't want to use the word bear market, but it's definitely out of favor. I haven't been really watching the group closely because, again, for me, it's a bull market. If NASDAQ is a bull market, you're rotating into the strongest names. You're really not paying attention to the weaker names. But this group is definitely being treated as the redheaded stepchild. The one thing I have noticed is the theme that's starting to slowly play out are the stocks that missed earnings are having a really big snapback, right? So look at AMD, right? AMD had a really ugly reaction to earnings and then rallied back really big. Amazon had a really negative reaction to earnings and then rallied back big. So you say to yourself, well, what other names, right? What other names potentially could have the same thing? Because remember, everything is more of a copycat scenario in the market than anything else. So I started just brainstorming. I said to myself, well, what stocks got blown up into earnings that we can potentially watch this week? Doesn't mean they will reverse. But again, if there is a theme and the market continues to be good, well, let's see if those names could actually wake up. And I found 3 names, and again, I'm not really slicing the atom here, but I found 3 names that potentially, if they start taking out last week's range, and that is the key here. If they start taking out last week's range, could potentially wake up, at least for dead cat bounces for multiple days. The first one was ARM, right? And you can see here, ARM is below all the supply here, right? It's nowhere near taking out the earnings channel. But if ARM, and we definitely want to watch it, if ARM starts taking out this whole earnings cycle of congestion, maybe this thing could wake up just like AMD did, just the way Amazon did. SMCI, right, had a really ugly reaction to earnings. And honestly, this one looks like it's going lower than anything else. But it's one of those scenarios, again, just to keep on the back burner for this week. Doesn't necessarily have to happen. Honestly, this actually looks like a really good short for Monday. But, let's keep an eye on this thing. You can see here, after earnings blow up, it got rejected off the 50-day moving average. Just set yourself an alert, a reminder. If it gets back above the 50-day, it's not, now that I'm looking at SMCI, it doesn't look that great. But if it does reclaim the 50-day moving average in this lifetime or the next, maybe it starts spiking back. And the last one is HIMS, right? The last one is HIMS. HIMS, again, still big reaction to earnings. Hasn't gone out of its own way. As you can see here, the last couple of days, it tried to get back above the 50-day moving average, could not do it. Again, it's one of those names just to watch and put on the back burner to say, hey, if they do reclaim back the 50-day moving average, can this thing give a 1 or 2 day dead cat bounce? Let me give you guys some other names that I do like going into this week as well. Let me give you guys some names. Let me see what I can give you guys. Obviously, we're watching for continuation on Tesla. Obviously, I'm hoping for a continuation on Google. But these are the names you should definitely keep an eye on if you trade technology. Shopify had a monster quarter. It's just kind of consolidating. Let's watch for the next wave up. USAR, nice looking chart here. Not really familiar with the name, but a nice looking chart here trying to confirm the July highs. Meta is one of the very few names. It's going through a nice, beautiful consolidation. I'm kind of waiting for this move, just like a Google, like kind of the Google earnings trade. I want to see Meta take out the earnings highs. If it takes out the earnings highs, this thing could really start moving up. So definitely keep an eye on that as well. So let's talk about the pivots. Again, really strong day. Shopify obviously didn't confirm. Again, Google was awesome. Again, I'm still holding a runner. 198 got rejected 4 times. The 5-star setup. I basically was saying the last 2 days in the webinar, this thing's either going to go off this 198 or it's not. I know it sounds stupid to say that simplistic, but it's when the stock gets already rejected 4 times. Your risk was literally 50 cents on this thing if it got rejected again for potential X amount of move, and the stock rallied $4.50. So awesome move. AMD didn't quite get up to the pre-market highs. CRWV has been on a monster reversal. 125 needs to confirm pre-market highs. CRWV went all the way up to 131. I still like this thing. If this thing starts taking out this whole channel going back to 2 weeks ago, it could potentially test back the 50-day moving average all the way back to 140. So it's definitely a name you want to monitor. Tesla went absolutely nuts. 322.40 needs to confirm. It was when red to green, confirmed 322.40, traded all the way up to 335. Tesla starts getting back above 335, we should challenge the July high. So that was awesome, awesome, awesome move. And that was it. Tesla, all you needed was either Tesla, Google, or a combination of both. We had both. So I was very, very happy there. Other than that, man, again, business as usual. We are always prepared for both sides of the market. If you are interested in pivots, guys, I would love to expose the wonderful world of pivots to you. All it takes is 30 days to see if it's a right fit for you. Guys, have a great weekend, everybody. Have a great Sunday. God bless. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the field tomorrow. Take care.